The gold is gone, and the champion is searching for answers. Carlos Ulberg is fresh off his massive UFC 327 knockout victory, but the brand new light heavyweight king has a major problem, as he admitted to losing his championship belt somewhere during his wild post-fight celebrations. He is now focused on medical recovery for a knee injury, while the MMA world wonders where that iconic title belt could possibly be hidden.
Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
The Octagon returns to Winnipeg, and the fantasy MMA landscape is heating up for a massive card. We are breaking down the must-watch matchups for the upcoming UFC Fight Night, including a high-stakes clash between Jasmine Jasudavicius and Karine Silva. With Jasudavicius looking to leverage her striking dominance and grappling stats on home soil, this is the perfect time to optimize your DraftKings lineups for the action this Saturday. Life comes at you fast when you are a top-tier fighter, balancing the highs and lows of the sport. Just days after facing a tough knockout loss to Carlos Ulberg at UFC 327, Jiri Prochazka is celebrating a beautiful new chapter as he announced the birth of his daughter Eleonora. The former light heavyweight champion is opening up about his fatherhood journey and promising to address the social media noise surrounding his recent performance very soon. The spotlight is shining bright on Mike Malott as he prepares to headline his first UFC event in his home country of Canada. He is facing a desperate veteran in Gilbert Burns, who is hungry to snap a losing streak in what promises to be a career-defining showdown in Winnipeg. Will Malott seize the moment, or will the experience of Burns play spoiler in the Great North? Get the latest insights and hit the subscribe button and tap the bell for all your fight week coverage. Ever won the biggest prize of your life, only to lose it before the adrenaline even wore off? That is exactly the reality for the newly crowned UFC light heavyweight champion, Carlos Ulberg. After delivering a jaw-dropping first-round knockout to Jiri Prochazka at UFC 327 in Miami, the night was supposed to be all about glory and gold. But instead of waking up to the belt resting on his nightstand, Ulberg realized he had somehow misplaced the championship title during a wild post-fight blur that spanned from a nightclub to an apartment gathering. It is the kind of chaotic, hangover-style mishap that you just cannot make up, and frankly, it is refreshing to see such a high-stakes athlete handle it with a shrug. But beneath the party boy drama, there is a serious reality check waiting in the wings. Ulberg is currently nursing a knee injury sustained in that headline-grabbing fight, and he is staying stateside to undergo scans in Las Vegas. Whether he ends up needing simple rehab or a more invasive surgery at the UFC Performance Institute, his path forward is going to be far less about celebration and far more about recovery. It goes to show that in the fight game, you can be on top of the world 1 minute and dealing with medical reports and lost property the next. If you enjoyed this update on the light heavyweight king, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more MMA insights. After all, the real question is, how long until he gets a replacement, and will he actually keep a tighter grip on it next time? The Octagon is finally heading back to the Great White North. For the first time since 2017, the UFC returns to Winnipeg, and we have a high-stakes main event that you absolutely need to factor into your DraftKings lineups. I'm talking about the clash between Gilbert Burns and Canadian hometown hero Mike Malott. With 12 fights on the card, there is plenty of room to find some serious value, so let's dive into my top targets for Saturday night. First up, keep a close eye on Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's coming off that tough loss to Manon Fiorot, but she is hungry to bounce back on home soil. Looking at the metrics, she's the superior striker and carries a massive advantage on the ground. With Karine Silva struggling to stop takedowns, sitting at just a 21% defense rate, Jasudavicius is essentially a walking fantasy goldmine. At $9,200, she's pricey, but she's been consistently putting up 100-plus points in her wins. She's my lock for a high-ceiling performance. Next, we have to talk about Charles Jourdain. This guy is in the absolute prime of his career, and ever since moving down to bantamweight, he's looked like a different animal. He's riding a 2-fight submission streak and consistently puts up monster fantasy numbers. He's taking on Kyler Phillips, who is struggling to regain his footing. If Jourdain keeps this standing, his volume and accuracy should overwhelm Phillips. He's arguably one of the best value plays on the board if he catches an early sub. Then there is the main event, Gilbert Burns versus Mike Malott. Look, people are writing off Burns because of his recent skid, but let's be real, he's been fighting the absolute killers of the division. Malott is talented, but he hasn't faced a gauntlet like that. Statistically, this is much tighter than the casual observer thinks. If Burns can exploit that 14% takedown defense of Malott, he's going to rack up serious points. If he can grind this out, he could easily pay off his price tag as a veteran looking to silence the doubters. Ready to get in on the action? Head over to DraftKings and lock in your lineups for the $300,000 throwdown. Whether you're chasing the $100K top prize or just looking to beat your buddies, make sure you don't sleep on these picks. Who are you backing this weekend? The seasoned veteran or the rising star? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you at the fights. Imagine stepping into the octagon, fighting for the highest stakes in the world, and then moments later, being handed the greatest title of all, fatherhood. Just days after a crushing knockout loss to Carlos Ulberg at UFC 327, former light heavyweight champion Jiri Prochazka has stepped out of the cage and into a brand new role. On Thursday, Prochazka shared the first heartwarming photos of his newborn daughter, Eleonora, marking a major turning point in his life. In a raw, emotional post on X, he expressed pure awe at the experience, rightfully praising his partner for displaying a level of strength he never knew existed. It is a striking reminder that for these athletes, the battles we see on screen are only half the story. Prochazka didn't just celebrate his new arrival, he also fired a warning shot to the critics, promising to address the noise surrounding his recent performance and the so-called hyenas on social media by the end of the week. But beyond the post-fight drama, his core message remains clear: staying true to your path and being willing to sacrifice everything for what you believe in. Even before the fight, Prochazka spoke about the power beyond emotions he felt as he awaited this moment, describing a connection with his growing family that transcends any belt or ranking. While he may not have walked away with the title this time, it is clear that Jiri has already secured a much bigger victory at home. Life moves fast, and for Jiri Prochazka, the next chapter is just beginning. What do you think about Jiri's perspective on his legacy? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more stories that go beyond the fight. After all, championships are temporary, but family is forever. Remember the golden era of Canadian MMA? Between 2010 and 2013, Georges St-Pierre didn't just fight. He turned Canada into the undisputed beating heart of the sport. We're talking 55,000 fans at the Rogers Centre, a national obsession that had Dana White practically begging to move the UFC headquarters to the Great North. But since GSP hung up the gloves in 2017, the hunt for his successor has felt like a long, winding road with more dead ends than breakthroughs. We've seen talented fighters come and go, but the throne has remained suspiciously empty. Enter Mike Malott, a guy who wasn't supposed to be the next GSP. Yet here we are, watching him become the hero Canada didn't know it was waiting for. This Saturday in Winnipeg, Malott isn't just fighting, he's headlining. It's his 6th consecutive fight on home soil, a trend that speaks volumes about his connection with the crowd. Malott isn't a champion, not yet, and he isn't even ranked, but the atmosphere he generates is electric. It's that old-school, local boy-made-good energy that reminds us why we watch this sport in the first place. Growing up playing hockey with his brother in the LA Kings organization, Mike eventually swapped the ice for the cage. And honestly, it's been a masterclass in seizing the moment ever since he broke out on the Contender Series. Now he faces a massive test, the veteran Gilbert Burns. Burns is a battle-hardened contender with his back firmly against the wall, fighting to end a 4-fight losing streak. It's the classic danger man scenario. Does he come out desperate and chaotic or measured and tactical? Malott isn't losing sleep over it. He's taking the professional approach, focusing on his own game, his own preparation, and trusting that when he fights free, nobody can stop him. We saw that confidence in Toronto, where he nearly pulled off a masterclass before a heartbreaker of a finish against Neil Magny with seconds left on the clock. That loss was a lesson, not a limitation. Malott treats every walk to the cage like a main event because he knows this is his journey, and he's the only one walking it. Whether he's destined for the GSP stratosphere or carving out a legacy all his own, one thing is certain. When the lights dim in Manitoba this Saturday, the roof is going to blow off that arena. He's here to seize the spotlight and prove that Canadian MMA is alive, well, and burning brighter than ever. Do you think Malott has what it takes to break into the top tier after this fight, or is Burns going to play spoiler in his final stand? Drop a comment below with your prediction, hit that like button if you're backing the home team, and subscribe for more Fight Night breakdowns. Keep watching, because in this sport, the next big thing is always just one punch away.